Hello everybody, welcome to the first video on my channel. Thanks for joining me. How do you do a YouTube video intro? I'll just get right to the point. I am going to be going through a lot of my old LPS customs. I've been customizing LPS for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. I've done probably at this point almost 400 customs, and I don't have too many of my old ones. I sold a lot of them, but I do still have quite a bit, and it will probably be too many to get to in this video, but maybe I will make it part 2. Anyway, let's get started. I'll start by showing you just a quick overview of all of them to show just how many I have. There's this pile, all of those, and this entire container, which I think is what I'll mainly be focusing on because these are the really old ones that I haven't even looked at myself for like 2 years since I put them into storage. I could have wrapped these up so much better. They're just like, half of them are wrapped up in literal pieces of Kleenex and the rest are in like packing paper, and they're just like probably really dusty from this Kleenex, but anyway, the first one I just pulled out. This one is my first ever cyborg. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I was very into making like a robot cyborg customs. Like that was all I did, and I had so many of them. This one's kind of cool, honestly. I was really proud of him when I first made it, but he's looking a little bit rough now. I used to collect like broken jewelry and like just random little things I found, and that's like some of the pieces you can see, including like this robotic eye. I cannot remember what I got this from, but it was like, I think a piece of like a blender that my sister took apart because she's into electronics and stuff. This is actually a custom that I remade, so this is the old version, and I will probably be showing the new version too because they're both very old. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it. Its tail is made entirely out of hot glue and wire, and so is this thing on its head. I think I was trying to make like a mohawk. I'm not even quite sure what that is. But honestly, for my skill level at the time I made this, I am shocked I was able to get these details around its body. Like there's that, and then look at the eyes. The eyes are just like a splotchy mess. I'm not sure what I was trying to do with these eyes. But this entire custom I was trying to make look like fire, which, I mean, it kind of does. This thing, it's wearing a mask. Let me see if I can get it off. Okay, I forgot I literally screwed the mask into its head. There's actual like little screws, if it'll ever focus. There's little screws there on each side of the mask. So it does come off if I had a screwdriver, but I'm not getting a screwdriver. But yeah, the mask can like come off partially. So you can see his face. And like where the mask was, his face is all discolored. I think I tried to shade. Yeah, I like shaded with some pastels. I don't know why I did that, it just looks dirty. I sculpted this hair, and he had more piercings like going down his whole ear, but half of them have fallen off. And that was also a piercing that a bunch of it fell off too. I believe this was like a character I made. I think I named him Yuki. This one, I actually still really love this one. This is Blue from Rio. It's honestly not a bad custom. He's kind of cute. I also made him like an accessory. I'm not sure if I'll find it in here, but I made him a little GPS, like the one he has in the movie. I'm gonna go through these a little bit quicker because I still have so many left. This one, I attempted to make a puppy of, I can't remember what Cocker Spaniel it is, but I can put a picture on the screen. This is one that has a serious case of fuzz being stuck to it from the Kleenex. But yeah, over time this one has gotten kind of scratched, especially under there where the head turns, and the paw has just been scraping off all the paint. But yeah, this was made from a fake puppy, and I attempted to cut off the tongue it had sticking out, which, because it didn't look like the original Cocker Spaniel. I should have just left it because all those scratches there where it used to be just looks worse. This is actually one that I still really like. This is still one of the ones with like the most sculpting I have, and it's the only time I've attempted sculpting like ears on a Cocker Spaniel. Mind you, they're not well sculpted ears. I have no idea what's going on in the back here. I didn't attempt to smooth it out at all, but the front is cool, and those designs in the eyes. Honestly, this is another custom I'd like to redo. I think it's really pretty. I believe this is my second or third custom I ever made. The sculpting has broken a few times and I've glued it. I've glued back on the wings several times. I could fix it again. But yeah, the paint is in very bad condition. This was also an authentic LPS that was very damaged. I got like glue all over the back of the head. It's a very sad looking custom, but it's very nostalgic looking at this. I like still remember painting it. This table I'm using has very uneven legs. I'm just realizing it could be like shaking. I am so sorry. This one, all the pink areas glow in the dark. It was my first time using glow in the dark paint. And actually the only time I don't think I've made another glow in the dark custom. I used to make so many eyes like this. Like, I think I was trying to make them like an anime style, but it doesn't really look like anime style. This one I made as like a set with this one, and I find it funny how their opposite wings both fell off. But yeah, I sculpted these wings, which I think this was like one of the first like things I actually tried sculpting. I sculpted this on the tip of the tail and the little horns. But yeah, obviously like I made like an angel and demon set. It's so cute for a demon. This one, I forget how much longer I made it after the angel, but it was quite a long time after. But this one turned out so much better. And I should fix this wing because I do still love this custom. I see a tail poking through. I think I know which one this is. This is another one of like my character ones. I think I named him Bowman. He was meant to be like a husky or just some kind of like white dog. And I tried to do like a fur texture, which looks really bad. But I still like his eyes. I also used to do a bunch of eyes like this. They look kind of like galaxies. And I sculpted him some hair and these bracelets. This one is really mummified. It's wrapped so tightly. It's not only my first time ever doing glass eyes, but it has no neck peg. I like sculpted him a new one with like there's like a toothpick in there and like a ball of clay that I used as like a socket somehow. It's hard to describe, but in order to do the eyes and fix the neck peg, I like cut open the side of his head. And then to like disguise the gaping hole, I literally burned it. I melted the plastic with a lighter and then glued it back on and just made it look like he had like a burn wound. And then I sculpted like, he used to have these like spikes on like these shoulder pads, but they've both fallen off. I'm shocked this earring has survived so long. I also sculpted that hair. This is another like one of my characters, and I named him Magnar. This is a remake of an even older one. So it's still like this one isn't bad. It has like this fur on it, but I'll be able to, actually I'm gonna save like going into detail of this one more until I find the even older one. This is another one I still find really cute. Like the markings, has some like painted vines and flowers around its body. I sculpted the fluff on the ears and the sides of the head, and I lengthened the tail, which looks kind of weird. I could have done that a bit better. I remember this is one of the first ones I did that I got like new brands of paints that were better than what I had been using. So for one of my older customs, this is very smooth paint, I'd say. And the eyes are a bit interesting, but they're still kind of pretty. This is another one I'd like to redo. This is a really old one. I think this is the first one I ever sculpted on with this one certain kind of paint that was sculpted with paint. Sculpted with a certain kind of clay. And as you can see, it's like a very bumpy, like cracking clay. I didn't use this clay very many times, clearly, because you can see it was horrible. Yeah, some of the spikes have fallen off on the tail. I think I like never even finished sculpting some of the spikes because I hated the clay so much. But it's supposed to be like a dragon or a dinosaur kind of thing because it doesn't have any wings. But I remember these horns being inspired by Loki when I was very much more into Marvel at the time. And I don't know why I tried doing this style of eye painting again, but it looks very similar to this one, and it looks so bad. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to recreate it. I had this basset hound. This is a basset hound, right? I had this basset hound that was missing an ear, so I gave him this like hearing aid thing over the hole where it was missing. This was like another character I made. Like all my cyborgs were gonna be like a character for a series that I never made. I just like gave them backstories and stuff and never did anything with it. He was made to look like a realistic basset hound, but also like an old one, so I gave him some like white fur around his face. The eyes are honestly still painted pretty well. I tried to make them look a lot like an actual dog's eyes. I am just progressively losing my voice as this video goes on. I was sick like a week ago and my voice is dying, so don't mind that. It pains me to say that this was made with an authentic dragon LPS. It was back when I did not realize the value of LPS, of certain ones, and I completely destroyed it. Like back when I used to actually play with my LPS, I'd bring them out in the yard, and I forgot about this one in the yard and I lost it for the longest time, and then my sister found it like face down in the dirt. It was all stained and it was heartbreaking, and I still never replaced this dragon. I'll put a picture of what it used to look like on the screen. But yeah, so I customized it and it looks terrible, back with this weird eye style again. But the overall design like has these swirls. I still kind of like these actually. Like this design, I'd want to redo it like in a cooler way, but on a fake dragon. This is sad. I just ruined it. I've heard of a lot of customizers like customizing and ruining their LPS when they were little because they didn't know the value, and it's sad, but we all learn. This is one that I completely forgot I even made. I destroyed a perfectly fine LPS for this one. It was a sticker eye walking cat, but this is another one that I kind of like I did with this one. I melted it, and I melted it a lot. Slight gore warning. Slight. That is a lot of gore. Anyway, this is horrifying, but also kind of cool. I can't remember if I actually like cut that off. Yep, I cut off like half its face, and then these are beads. that I made look like screws or something. And then there's a little piece of circuit board for the second eye. Around the time that I was really into making cyborg LPS customs, my sister was too. So for this one, we stood over the sink so we didn't burn the house down. Gladly, I was smart enough to do that at least. And we melted this LPS with a lighter. It was really horrible. Why did we do that? I remember for this custom I was very inspired by Pia's Little Customs. If I can find the LPS that specifically inspired it, I'll put a picture on the screen. These are probably the most horrifying eyes I ever painted. And this very badly sculpted bow. But I mean, for the rest of it, the paint is somewhat smooth, and it's not too bad. Very simple, cute design, except for the eyes looking like she might murder you in your sleep. Well, this is the one I mentioned before that I redid. So here's the really old one, and here's the one that I redid. Not sure how many years after, but to show how much better I got. Specifically the eyes, like look at how chunky that is. Yeah, the hair that I had like covering the face, this is like fake feathers and they're like falling off up here. Fun fact, you can actually look underneath and see that I didn't even like attempt to like make it so you couldn't see the other eye. It's just sitting under there like not painted. And then for this one that I made better, I used like fur, like some kind of fake fur. These are due for a third one, honestly, because this is another old one that I could do even better now. This is one of the few customs I made out of a newer generation LPS. I sculpted like the bottom like part of its mouth because I think it was open and I didn't like how it looked. At the time I finished this one, it was one of the ones I had listed on eBay, but it just never sold, so I decided to keep it. And it's kind of cute. It was like a Christmas themed one that I had with like some Christmas accessories. I also repositioned the ears. I think I moved them like down further. And did I sculpt that? I might have sculpted this fluff on the head, but I cannot tell. And then I also sculpted the antlers. The head doesn't move. Oh, I must have glued the head for some reason. I can't remember why I glued the head. This one is honestly still so cute to me. It has some fur details, and I tried to make it look like a skunk. I know, this is a chipmunk. Oh, that's what I did. Yes, it's a chipmunk. And it has like all the little chipmunk stripes all over it. And this is a real acorn glued to its head. I'm noticing that a lot of my old customs have the same problem where I didn't do enough coats of paint. You can see it especially bad on this one, and I still have that problem sometimes. It's Bat Dog. I don't know how I managed these little details, like they're still not good. Like I could do that so much better now, the little bat logo or whatever. And the Hasbro style eyes that I used to paint a lot more often, those aren't too bad actually. This custom is dirty. And then there's this cape which is actually falling off. That's made with a little piece of fabric. This is one of the especially older ones. When I first got these like nail art decor things, I just covered this in them, like both of the ears. It feels really weird. It's like almost hurts, like all little spikes. And then that's like a sticker on the forehead. The eyes are very simple. It's a very simple custom overall. I think this is another one I tried to sell and it never sold, so I just kept it. There is finally just a few left. Another really, really old one. This was made with a fake bulldog, I think. And it's just white with, what the heck is that on it? Ew. That shows just how gross these are. Yeah, it's just white, and then I like splattered paint on it. Another one that I didn't do enough coats of paint around the body. You can just see the brown showing through. I always like forget I even made this one. Also, I think one of like the first 5 that I ever did. This is another one that I also remade, kind of like with these 2 black cats. I made an updated version around the same time that I made the updated version of that black cat, so I can get this one, the second version, to compare them. And here's the newer one. The biggest difference is the colors. I like lighten them a lot on this one. This one's a more burgundy, and this one's like a pink. The polka dots I did on this one are much more even and just spaced better. These are kind of sloppy. Even though this one is like several years old now at this point, I don't think I could do it any better, really. It's still a really good custom. Anyone want to trade for their authentic Savannah for this beautiful custom? Even the varnish I put on this one's eyes is like yellowing. I hate this generation of Dachshund. It is just like, what is that nose? Like, not only was the base already hideous, but then I customized it like this. Wow, this one is so interesting. Like, I got gold paint and I was just like painting everything gold. I remember this took so many coats of paint. Like, gold, like metallic paints are so hard to make them like opaque. And this custom is so bad, but I took all that time just for this. This is the last mummified bundle from the container, and I think I know which ones these are. Yes, there's 2 in here. Why is this one sticky? Ew. I made these as kind of like a set. This was my first attempt at making like a Valentine's Day custom. This is the best example you can see where I did not do enough coats of paint. It's like you can see the base color right through it. It looks even worse in person. But this is another one where like the details on the face are pretty cute, and like the color scheme. I was definitely going for like anime eyes. I think this is another one I must have used pastels on because they look almost like dirty. So all those stars on there. And some more polka dots. This one, I think maybe I was going for like Easter and Valentine's Day. Together they're pretty cute. So these are all the customs that I have time to show you guys today. I definitely am going to be making a part 2 because I have way too many customs to show in this one video. So yeah, thank you so much if you watched through this whole thing. And I also don't know how to do an outro.